Oh,
just so
and
that they
there's
can.
one more thing I wanted to show
Okay.
you. And let's see, I don't know if you got to go back in the Graper chat, but anyway, there's just a little blurb about me, and pot cures cold, and there's some guy, I guess he's on campus too, and change it on RC. This is hard to read, but it is really good.
Okay.
If you could somehow go back and get, or I'll leave you this.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, if you did that word to word, or like, I don't know, if you just, I mean, I don't know how that would do as a, like a thing, with the article or something, but that's from the Graper chat.
Okay.
Now, on back, there was a tiny article that the paper wrote, Gain or Loss, about going co-ed, because, there were really strong feelings on campus. And then here's something that I wrote, a letter to the editor about my feelings about, coming to a college as being the first co-ed. But I mean, you don't have to do anything with that, but you might want to look at Gain and Loss. But definitely this page. And I mean, I just think that for so many reasons, it's got like, here, and then it's got the changes. Of course, you can't hardly read it here, but let's see if I can read it. Remember the days of 11 o'clock curfews. Remember you could accumulate those warnings you could accumulate for being only 1 minute later. The student body was then graced with grace minutes. Let's see, the days of dresses or coats over shorts. Actually, shorts were frowned upon, so they would wear, I guess, this was before I came, they would wear like coats over shorts. Now it's blue jeans and bare feet. Let's see, and remember when your date would pick you up in a shirt and tie, only to rush back to the apartment for him to change. Let's see. And those bachelor apartments were a Radford no-no. Remember being allowed only one date during the week. I'll meet you at the Cove was a popular line back then. And don't forget the Saturday classes, whoever went to those during football season. And the Cove was this place that students went, like it had different kinds of food and stuff. For some reason, I don't think I ever went to the Cove, but students would talk about going to it. Don't forget those dry days at Radford before the Muse Coffee Shop and 3.2 beer came into existence on the RC campus. Now, did they have beer now, or have?
No, it's still a dry campus.
So it was. So that's one of the things that was different the other way. Empty liquor bottles and empty beer cans used to be forbidden in the dorms. Remember trying to hide another beer can in your suitcase. Open house on Sunday from 3 to 5 will finally be a thing of the past when fall quarter rolls. So, I mean, and the thing of it is when Dr. Moffat was in there, I mean, they had very strict rules. In fact, the rules were so strict that, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of women that had to go back in disgrace, to their families and stuff. I mean, and then and then she was the dean of students for decades and decades and decades. And then this Dr. Charles Martin, which, I told about in my essay, that was so toxic, both socially to, and academically to the students. And he was such a toxic person, and more than two people clashed with him, but one, Dr. Jervey, there was this article, I believe it was in Red Book magazine, about, promoting sex before marriage, and then he wrote Dr. Jervey wrote a letter to their editor, but I think he wrote it on Radford College letterhead, saying how that he would use it in his classes and, and what a good article it was. And it got back to Dr. Martin, maybe through somebody telling his wife or something. But anyway, there was a big brouhaha over that. And I believe that Dr. Jervey did not get pay raises after that he was entitled to. There was a lawsuit. Dr. Jervey won the lawsuit, but he didn't really, get a lot of money or anything. But I mean, he won the lawsuit. And then after that, the following year, Dr. Dedman came as president, and they came up with the title of Chancellor for Dr. Martin. I guess that's so he couldn't sue, because they could say, well, that was a better title or something. But anyway, and then he was that, I think, for 1 year, and then retired. But then there was A Little Rebellion, the book A Little Rebellion is a Good Thing, or something like that. Troubles or something other at Traymore College. And you can substitute Radford for Traymore. And this Duncan Clark was fascinating. The book did not come out till about 2020 or something. And Dan Casey, that writes these articles in the Roanoke Times, he really latched onto that. And it is such a good read. I mean, it would be a good read if it were fiction. And Dr. Clark says that everything that he wrote in it was true. But at the same time, then on the page that it's got the copyright and stuff, it's got the disclaimer, all these people are fiction. So, how can it be both true and fiction?
Right.
I've imagined, they probably had to do that. I mean, he would be a fascinating person. I don't know, the college may not like that type of a transparency, and they may not like that type of a, like the Alumni Association. When everything they write in that is positive. That's one of the reasons why I like to talk to students and sometimes faculty, and also read the Tartan, because I feel like through there, I get in addition, I like the Alumni magazine, but I get a more I get more of what is actually going on from it, because if there's an issue, that the students aren't happy about, it's going to be covered in the Tartan. And I appreciate that, and I love, like when I come back on campus, I'll always go first, try to find me, a rack of tartans and stuff. And I'm aware that a few years ago, there were some purloined tartans, and nobody had really shown that much interest in taking them, but I believe that was the weekend that Katie Couric came. And also there was there was an instructor that had died unexpectedly, and there was a picture of him, and it said no exit. Well, the thing of it is, that was the picture that the family submitted to the the family, it wasn't disrespectful if they did. And then the head of the, I don't know if it's the CHUB or if it's Hemphill Hall, I believe it is now, that they created this position. Radford is good at creating these positions for people, and giving them way over 100 to 200,000, and that's a position they did not need. And I talked to that man one time, and and it was over an issue, and it was like talking to a Palisade or something, and yet he's, he was in good, and then like there was some position that Dr. Hemphill wanted, another one, and so provost or something. Well, the thing of it is, if they're losing all this right now, currently, all this enrollment and different stuff like that, they don't need to be creating
Exactly.
these
Yeah.
positions where these people will get bukus of money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that money needs to be spent on getting students or giving students relief on their, on the debt they owe or tuition or something. But I guess I just view things differently than they do. But I don't know, after all this, is published in the Tartan, I am going to, make sure that they get to read it over in the alumni office, because I'm going to take them a copy or
Yeah.
two. I may be
Yeah.
one person that they'll get on camera or something, getting up these, because I may go the next day and get me several of them, to give
Yeah.
out to friends and
Yeah.
stuff. But but I can say, but it's about me, for once. But I mean, I love
Yeah.
the tartan, and I love, when I come over to get it and to read it, and I admire you. Have you ever figured out, like, I don't know if the Grapers Chat started in 1910. That's when the campus started.
I think it was the 20s, I believe.
Okay, so you would probably be around
Yeah.
their, give or take, their 100th editor.
Yeah. Yeah, the person two before me, he was the editor-in-chief from his freshman year to like when he graduated, and then we had another one in between the two of us, and she got really overwhelmed with school and stuff, and so she had to step down, and then I took over the middle of last semester, so towards the end, like October. So, and I was actually on the tartan back when they got stolen, just as a writer. So
I didn't take those, but I may take some
Yeah.
coming up.
yeah,